I had the opportunity to skate the new Echo Verve skates here. I skated them at Mimo Trash Park with Mary Munoz, which was super fun. But I skated them at Mimo Trash Park, which is basically like a P-box, practice box, DIY heaven on earth, which was super fun, but it doesn't really give a full comprehensive sort of look at all the different maybe street conditions or you know, all the different conditions that you might want with a review. But it's what I could make work at the time, and so I'll share my thoughts on the Echo Verve here from my, call it 3-hour session, 4-hour session. Actually, you know what? It was closer to 5. And that's probably the first thing I wanted to mention is that these skates are a size 282 shell. This is the 282 shell. My foot is a 275. If you don't know what that means, it just means your foot length in millimeters. So my foot length is 275. The shell length is 282. And when I first put my foot in these, I thought for sure they were going to be too small, to be honest. Or maybe not for sure, but I thought it was going to be an issue. And after I didn't take the skates off for 5.5 hours because we were filming with Mary and filming for this and filming for that. And so, and the one thing that really stood out to me, and I know Dave mentioned this over at Wheel Scene on his review as well, was that they are super comfortable, super comfy. I didn't have one friction or pain point hotspot for over 5 hours of having the skates on my feet and skating on and off. But yeah, I left the skates on for over 5 hours and really enjoyed it. As far as the fit and comfort goes, it was really, really good. I mean, the big thing with the comfort here is that the liner, again, looks a lot like a MyFit Second Skin, but the toe box is really thin, and it's also like a stretchy toe box. I think this was the key to, is part of the key to the comfort, is that this toe box is nice and stretchy. And even in these, which again are like just putting my foot in the shell, there's not like a huge amount of extra room in there. I was super surprised and pleasantly surprised at how comfortable they were. But the liners felt really good. You know, they held up just fine. I left them as they come. The shock absorber, unfortunately, is not great. Again, I skated P boxes all day, so it's not like I was doing gaps. Heel pad's not great, but I left it all in there. I skated them how they came from this sort of pre-production run, just to sort of get an idea of what's going on. So yeah, I don't love the heel pad, but I didn't really get to test it out either because I was just skating P boxes. So, but for what it's worth, the liner, there was no real shifting. Everything felt super planted. No heel lift, no nothing like that. So I give the liner and fit an A+ for sure. These pre-production ones, the laces, I guess it doesn't even look that long, but the laces are very long. They don't even look that long, but once they're actually tightened up, they're very long. But for the production models, they'll be an appropriate length. Just trust me, when these are tightened up, these are like triple the length right here. Yeah, I mentioned before, I don't love the sort of lace material, but I mean, it is what it is. The laces did their job just fine, and I think it's just almost personal preference, to be honest. I didn't mention it on the first video about these, but Dave did, and I appreciate him saying that, because this buckle protection, I don't really go through buckles too hard, definitely not like Dave, but this buckle protection is really, really good, and it clearly did its job. The buckle is mostly unfazed here, but yeah, had a couple slide outs or whatever, and the buckle protection is really good. I did want to mention too, I skated, these are a 3-way rockerable cuffs, so you can have it in the lowest position, medium, or high position. I have it skated or set into the lowest position, and I found, I guess we can talk about flex, because one thing, you know, is that the plastic here is really flexy, and I thought, oh man, these are going to be really super flexy boys, like not only the shell, but the not only the cuff, but the shell as well. I thought that they were going to be like super flexy, and that's the thing, is they actually weren't. To be honest, they felt, to me, they felt quite a bit like 909s. Like I skated, shout out to Nick, I skated his Schmediums for a video, you know, a while back. And to me, and it's not just the flex necessarily, like the support and the flex, it was actually the fit as well. The fit, it seemed like they fit very, very similar to the Schmediums. And like the flex and the feel felt very similar as well. Good support. It is definitely an adjustment coming up from the factions, the factions over here, because the factions are super flexy. If you've ever skated those, lots of forward, lots of lateral flex. These do not have that, which for me takes some adjusting because the factions are just so flexy. But I think for most people, you probably like the amount of support. I think it's comparable to a 909. I haven't skated them skate 909s a lot, only a handful of times here, but it seems like that boot down sort of flex and support is pretty similar. So we were skating pretty much all P boxes, so lots of wax here built up on the frame and the sole plate. But as far as backslide groove in the sole plate itself, felt really good. It felt, my complaint, because I'm just spoiled again with the Factions having big sole plates, my only complaint with the 909s was that the sole plate, it just felt like the margin of error was very low. And I know what you're saying, Ben, just skate better. But honestly, I'm lazy and I like a bigger sole plate. And to me, these felt like kind of 909-esque, but with a bigger sole plate. And I loved that. I love that a lot. Was locking on great as far as positive and negative. I had a really good experience on both sides of the coin here on positives and negatives. I was like, oh, maybe the negatives might be a little bit on the small side just compared to, again, other skates. But no issues at all locking on negatives or positives. Everything felt really solid. The backslide groove, really good. Made it up with their frames here, the frame groove. It's really nice setup they have here. It did feel a little bit blocky. The groove does remind me a lot of Creates, and I did find that initially some of the groove tricks, especially torques, were a little bit kind of blocky feeling, if that makes sense. So after grooving these in a little bit on one of the concrete ledges there, it felt a lot better. So a little bit blocky until you groove it in, but once you do, it was feeling really good. Did want to mention too, the skates feel really solid. Like landings, everything like that just felt really, really good. Yeah, very solid feeling skate. And I mentioned in the first video, but these are Shadow Loco skates for weighing these. And my understanding is that they're within a couple grams-ish of the 909 weight. So as far as weight goes, they're very comparable to 909s. Coming down to the frames here, I already sort of mentioned the groove here. I like the groove a lot because, I mean, it reminds me a whole lot of Create Originals, and I love that groove. That's what I skate normally or create. But the frames themselves, you can see a lot of wax buildup. It would have been nice, sure. It would have been nice if they had one-sided hardware where, you know, all this caking up that you can see here from all the wax on the P-box, that wouldn't be an issue if it was just single-sided hardware. Now, with stuff like this, you have to scrape that out and get your Allen key in there, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. These are more of a budget-friendly skate, so I don't expect all the bells and whistles here. So it is what it is. As far as the anti-rockers, I mean, again, skated P boxes all day, man. Like, so not the most comprehensive test of each component, but it is what it is. But these PU polyurethane anti-rockers here performed just fine. I didn't get any wheel bite. Not that I really would have either way, but for what it's worth, I mean, I didn't really notice the anti-rockers, and I think that's probably the sign of a pretty good anti-rocker, is they just do their job and you don't really notice them, I guess. So thumbs up on the antis. And the wheels here, 60mm 90A Echo wheels. And Dave mentioned it. Dave skated these a lot more than I did. It's hard to see on this skate. I think it's a little bit more pronounced on the other skate over there. But you can tell, and you know, I skated for, let's see, I had these on my feet for 5.5 hours, but really probably of actual skating, maybe 3.5 hours of actual rolling skating. And it's hard to see. Again, this doesn't really do it justice, the other skate. Maybe I should just grab the other skate. But I know Dave talked about it, and yeah, and this one's a little bit more pronounced. You can see the coning on top, where, I mean, it was rolling around pretty smooth, concrete, not like skating the gnarly streets of Barcelona, reasonably smooth concrete, and you can see there's some noticeable wear, I mean, for one session. So, like Dave mentioned too, I don't think these wheels are gonna last you a long time, but again, it's a budget-friendly skate. These are stock wheels. You know, I don't think I would go into this with any higher expectations anyway, but for what it's worth, the wheels did feel really good, and felt very solid, felt fast. So overall, my first initial impressions here on the Echo Verve are very positive, very positive. Very few drawbacks. I mean, I think the only things are just, hey, it's a budget-friendly skate, and it shows in some areas, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Pleasantly surprised. Primarily, again, the comfort of these skates was really, really surprising, because especially, again, I referenced the Factions. Factions are super comfy skates, and I haven't been able to find too many skates that I can just leave on my feet and not have any pain. And that was my experience with these, which is, to me, probably one of the most important factors is the longer you can have your skates on your feet without pain, the longer you can skate, the better you're gonna get, the more fun you're hopefully gonna have. So very impressed overall with the first session on the Echo Verve. We are going to be skating these more for sure in different conditions. Unfortunately, here in the Philippines, I don't think street skating is really gonna happen, but there is a cool little park here locally that we're gonna be skating these more at and getting some more impressions on them. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again to Echo for sending these over. I'll link to all the information about Echo down in the description below. And rollerbladers, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.
In a world of constant evolution,